Hey, chess friends, it's been a while, hasn't it? I want to give you some tools to counter the Englund Gambit. The whole reason that we are doing the Englund Gambit is because I am mostly a d4 player, 1d4, and so especially in blitz, if you are a 1d4 player, you are going to encounter this a lot. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a couple ideas here with countering it. I'm going to take you through the crazy ideas first, the super conflicting ideas that give a lot of sharp play, and then I'm going to give you some safer options. But the first idea, okay, it's going to start with d4, e5, of course, and you can see that the engine is already giving us a 1-point advantage here in this situation. Of course, it's because we're about to take the pawn. It's a gambit. That's what happens in gambits. Okay. From here, your opponent will play knight to c6, is kind of the main line. There are some side lines you can do, but I'm just going to cover the main line because it's probably what you'll see and it's the scariest. We're going to go ahead and defend that with knight to f3. Queen comes out on the next move. Really scary. Queen to e7, and we are going to over-defend. We're going to defend that pawn once more with bishop to f4. Now, if you haven't done this gambit before, if you haven't seen it come up in your games, kind of want you to take a moment here and see where we're at and sort of level set. So the next move from black is going to be queen to b4. Why queen b4? Because it's a really scary move. It is threatening the king, of course. It's checking the king. It's also threatening to win the bishop, and it's also threatening that pawn on b2, so there's just all kinds of nastiness going on with that move. So because of that, that is what black will play. And in this situation, there is only one correct move, and that correct move is, well, moving the bishop back, which I know it kind of seems counterintuitive. It seems like a big waste of time because we moved our bishop out only to move it right on back. That doesn't seem like a great idea, but it's really the only thing that gives us any advantage here and doesn't just lose on the spot, I would say. Queen captures on b2, and now instead of freaking out, we're not going to freak out, right? We're going to have some faith. Look at that eval bar in the corner. The eval bar keeps going up. There's got to be a good reason for that, right? The reason is this is not as bad for white as it appears. Okay, so at the moment, if we do nothing, the rook is going to get taken out next, so we should probably do something, right? Let's do something. Something is going to be developing that knight to c3. And you're also going to notice in this situation, we have 3 minor pieces developed. So it can't be that scary, right? We are getting a lot of pieces developed. Now, at this point, they're still going to try to push the attack. There's a couple options here. We're going to go over this bishop to b4 option first. Bishop b4, of course, they are attacking that knight. Something's going to happen there, and it's probably not going to be good. However, we don't want to just lose our minds in all this. There is kind of an intermezzo that we can do, sort of a danger levels type of topic. They are attacking our knight, but you know what's worth more than a knight is the queen, so we're going to go ahead and counter-attack right now. We are counter-attacking the queen. The queen's going to have to move. The queen moves off over to a3, and in this situation, the best option is playing knight to d5, which is setting up a couple of different attacks. It's attacking the bishop, so now the bishop has a bunch of pieces aimed at it, and it's also threatening fork on c7, so black has to be a little careful here. Now from here, black's best option is going to be to take the bishop, you retake with the queen. From here, black will usually choose to move the king to d8 to defend that pawn. That is great news already, so we've really compromised black's position here, right? And from here, we move our knight to g5, because now that the king is moved, haha, it's another fork. So now they're going to have to do something about this. So this is just one of these things where they started out, black started doing the initiative here, but we completely flipped it around, and now we are creating the threats. We are asking the questions, and black is the one that's going to have to play correctly to get out of it, right? From here, knight to h6 is usually the move here. You know, again, king can't really move from this spot because that's also being threatened, so it's not a good situation for black at all. In this situation, we can cement that knight in place there, just ties everything together, makes it really difficult for black to really do anything. You know, they can take your pawn on the side. It doesn't really matter. If they do something like that, there is this really cool move, knight to c3, of course attacking the queen and also protecting that rook on b1. So that's kind of the first line that I want to discuss. But let's go into another line. Okay, the second line, and I'm just going to fast forward here. Second line begins much the same way as the first. The difference is, instead of bishop to b4, there's a little trick here. There's knight to b4 instead, jumping the knight in. This is definitely a little tricky. So now, this isn't the target, right? Now the target, and the target isn't a2 either, the target is c2 now, because now we are threatening a fork here, and things are, you know, black is threatening a lot, and we have to figure out a way to deal with that. The best way to deal with this, I've found, is going to be knight to d4 here, protecting that pawn. Now, of course, that's not like a long-term protection plan here, right? Because all black really has to do is kick this knight out of the way, and they're back in business, and the threat is back on. So because of that, they are usually going to play a move like c5 or bishop to c5, just something to get rid of this knight so that they can, you know, get back on with their attack, and we can, you know, white can stop causing them problems. So, you know, it doesn't really matter. They'll play one or the other. Look at that evaluation bar, though. Look, it just shot up to 4.5 there. It's just so crazy. Well, at this point, we don't need this defender to last much longer because, again, we will create a bigger threat. We are going to threaten black's queen. Black's queen has to do something. They got to get out of there. A3 is really the only place to go. And from here, we play knight d to b5, and it's another threat. It's another threat on the queen. We've got our fork here on c7 that they're going to have to contend with. So there's a lot of ideas, and they are probably going to have to move their queen somewhere that's going to cover that fork. So a5 seems great. And again, this is 4.5, 4.6 in white's favor right here. Just insane. We can threaten that knight and get it out of here. I don't remember if this is the engine top move or not, but it's definitely something I would play. We're going to get that knight out of there. They can go ahead and they can threaten our knight as well, but it's not really that big a threat. Our threat actually, you know, carries more weight, because if we take here, that's threatening their queen, so they're not really going to have time to take her knight, not right in the beginning anyway. So we'll just go ahead and play a takes b4 and snatch up that knight. They have to recapture like that, and then we can play rook a1. Rook a1, again, you just threatening the queen. They can't really get away with taking this yet because their queen is still under threat. And so this is how you survive the Englund Gambit and just end up, now we're, you know, white is 5 points in the lead at this point, because there's just so many threats. You look at the amount of pieces that white has developed versus black, which is just, you know, floundering around, you know, moving their queen around the board, which is, of course, the danger of bringing your queen out too early, right? So it's not really a great gambit. It's only really good if it's blitz or bullet and your opponent isn't prepared for it. So let's take a look at one more line, one more option, I would say, for white, because these pass lines kind of they give black a lot before they take it all away, right? You are playing into the hands of the Englund Gambit, allowing the queen to get active. You turn it around. But they still, go and partially destroy your queen side and whatnot. What if you don't want any of that? What if you want to play a little bit safer, I guess? So let's take a look at that. So we have d4, e5, and hey, this looks really familiar here. We're gonna play bishop to f4 here. They bring their queen out, right? And now, in the last game, we brought our, we had knight on f3, we had the knight on f3, and we had the bishop on f4. This game, instead of doing that, we're going to play knight to c3, and this changes, a lot of the situation. Okay, so on the one hand, this check does not exist anymore, which is great. So, it kind of blunts the queen to b4 move a little bit. I mean, they can still play it. Most of the time in this situation, though, it's going to be really tempting for black to gobble up, to recapture the pawn. I can't say take a free pawn, because technically it's, they gambited the e5 pawn to begin with, so it's not free, but they can recapture there, right? Because count the defenders, there's just one defender versus two attackers. They can go ahead and take on e5, and from here our best option is playing knight to d5, because knight to d5, again, we're just going for we're going for this classic this classic fork, which seems to always exist in these Englund Gambits, right? And also comes with a threat because we're threatening the queen. So we can get a situation like queen to d6. This is kind of scary, I guess, for black, because they're not really taking the knight. Like, the knight is defended right now, so that's not really in question. But they are sort of pinning themselves behind this knight, so we can take advantage of that by playing knight to f3. And a lot of times in this line, by the way, you can see that it's a 1 point advantage for white, even though the points are even right now for the different pieces. They can go ahead and take on f3. This is about as bad a choice as they could make. I think in blitz especially, it feels good. It feels like, okay, well, black thinks that white is going to have to deal with it, of course, because it's a check. So yeah, they're right. But then you enter this situation now where nothing has really been resolved by doing that. The bishop is attacking the queen, the knight is defended, the queen has to move, and the game is lost. Because, of course, the fork. The ever-present fork on c7. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed that little study on the Englund Gambit. If you did enjoy it, please let me know in the comments, and also like and subscribe, because those two things would also super help me. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!